Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Matt Cool and thank you for coming to check out this edition of the Hubs Creators Meetup, where we share knowledge around Hubs, Spoke, Blender, and design and help the community create better Hubs experiences. With us today is the Immers Space team, who have been doing some really interesting work around building federation systems, design, and custom client operations. So let's give them a big warm welcome and have Kalani introduce the team and take it away.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us, Matt. We're really excited to be here. This is the Immers Space team led by William Murphy's Vision with Dulce Barrega on design and 3D development, and Quinn handling so much of the back end stuff. And my name is Kulani, and I work on the marketing and sales front, and I'm the least technical person on the team. We'll really be happy to hear. Immersive Space came together to create an alternative model for how content creators and consumers online interface with each other. And so we decided to build games and chess in particular as our flagship product, using Mozilla Hubs and creating a way for people to build micropayment streams. I think we all know that historically a lot of the big social media companies have dominated games online, as well as used advertising models to monetize different websites. And the really amazing thing about virtual reality is that this is a new age. And with virtual reality and augmented reality, the rules around content, privacy, portability, and monetization have not yet been fully determined. And so to build a cooperatively owned platform like Immers Space means to provide a robust alternative to the way things have been built, and find a way to build new communities and new understandings and new digital social contracts, as it were. The ultimate question that Immers Space is attempting to answer really is there a different way to build online communities that respect user privacy and still allow content creators to earn money ethically and sustainably online? And can we do so in a way that corporations can't then come over and take over and corrupt, this cooperatively owned platform? And so there are a number of guiding principles, right? It's open source, it's virtual, it's based on Mozilla Hubs, it is networked into the Web Monetization community, and more importantly, structurally, governance-wise, we'll be running workshops and ensuring that the members all have a chance to weigh in on how this should be structured. And the hope is to get so much buy-in that no one can come in from the outside to change the tenets of open.
Works that you have in here, Will. This is awesome.
Oh yeah, that's actually a special feature that only shows up if someone in the room is using web monetization to pay.
Nice. And that's you, right?
And that's me.
That's awesome. Paying myself the big bucks, right? Cute.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
There should be like a time tunnel, like a speed thing that shows up on the screen as you're going from one place to another.
Yeah, that would
Very metaverse.
actually be a cool effect. Really. Some kind of parallax that would make you feel like you're moving from one place to the next.
So I just realized that What we used is a technology called Federation. It's actually both very old and very new. And if you put Federation to connect immersive web experiences, our theory is, hey, that's basically the metaverse, right? What's the idea behind Federation? I wonder how many of you have had this extremely common, extremely frustrating experience. I've had it a million times. You meet someone and you want to connect with them and you're like, hey, what's your Twitter? And they're like, oh, no, I don't use Twitter. What's your Facebook? And you're like, oh, no, I don't use Facebook. And then you're both just mad because you can't connect. And it's really frustrating. It's stupid. And I don't know, a lot of us have just kind of come to accept that this is the way that it is. Maybe it's a technological limitation. But the fact is it's not. It's never been a technological limitation because you know what service has been solving that problem since forever? Email. You know, can you imagine if like you were trying to get someone's email and you're like, oh, what's your email? And they're like, oh, I'm on Yahoo. And you're like, ooh, darn, I'm on Gmail. I guess we can't email each other. Ridiculous, and we wouldn't put up with it. And the fact that there's not even a really difficult technological problem because email's always done it.
Right.
I think so.
ActivityPub. This is a standard. That means kind of like HTTP. It's organized by a bunch of really smart people, written down in very great detail, and put to committee and accepted by the World Wide Web Consortium as something that we can all use in order to make sure that our programs work with each other. It means different independent servers, kind of like a Gmail versus a Yahoo versus a Proton Mail or whatever, can all communicate with each other. It's interoperable, meaning that they don't have to be running exactly the same software and can still share email back and forth, and it's an accepted standard. Works similar to email and that we can all communicate across platforms. Exists for some social media applications already. A very popular one is called Mastodon. It's similar to Twitter in how it's focused on microblogging or short posts. And this is a diagram from Mastodon about how the Federation works. And so what they're showing here is you have a bunch of different individual Mastodons. There are hundreds of thousands of different Mastodon servers that people run. They all connect to each other, and they may have some unique features on each one. You see there's different worlds, there's regular Mastodons, there's slime elephants, but it doesn't matter that they're all a little bit different in their implementations or their community. They all can talk to each other, and so the regular Mastodons can be friends with the slime Mastodons, they can be friends with the mutant Mastodons, and so on and so forth. And then it doesn't matter which one is your home, you can follow each other and have social media interactions across that. Doing at Immers Space is taking this technology, the immersive web, so that all of the different awesome immersive web experiences that exist out there but are isolated and are hard to find can be connected into one giant social network.
Hey, Kalani, could you mute your mic?
Yeah. Sure.
ActivityPub is basically two things. It's a common language. These different servers need to be able to talk to each other so that we all know what to call. Is it a like or is it a fave when you're looking at, when you say you tell someone that you like their post. And a standardized protocol, meaning that the servers have a way of communicating with each other. Sounds like it would be really complicated, but it's actually pretty simple when you get down to the details. The idea is everyone has an inbox and an outbox. Stuff with the outside world, you post a message to your outbox and that delivers it to the rest of the world. And when someone wants to share a message with you, they post a message to your inbox and you get it and you can read it. But that's basically the whole of it. We're using these inboxes and outboxes, and we're using a common language to describe what we're doing. It can work across a bunch of different servers and applications, then they don't all need to be the same software. Specifically is we're implementing ActivityPub to work best for the immersive web. But super cool side note, because they're all on a standard protocol, you could follow someone on Mastodon from your Immers Space account, or someone on Mastodon could follow your Immers Space Metaverse account and get updates from you that way, because they still all speak the same language when it comes down to it. What we're doing to pub to suit the immersive web, an idea of a home Emmer versus destination Emmer. I'll get into these in detail right after this. a friends list. You've all had a good experience with that. Your current location, inventory. Destination. First, we'll talk about what exactly do I mean when I say an Immer. Is the combination of an immersive web experience like this Mozilla Hubs cloud that we're in right now, and an ActivityPub host, which is attached to the Medieval Castle Club we're hanging out in. There's a Medieval Castle Club ActivityPub host. You put those two things together, experience plus the social media host, and you've got an Immer. Is where you registered your account. Up for the first time back on vrain.space. And a destination Emmer is when you go to another account, another experience, another Emmer, but you're able to bring your account with you. And so right now we're all using Medieval Castle Club as a destination Emmer, but logged in with our home accounts from vrain.space, or for those of us on the team Emmer.space. Through a little bit of magic, those of you who are familiar with authorization on the web probably recognized the OAuth flow that you went through when you came in here, where it asked you who you were, and then went back to your home server, and your home server asked you if you want to give permission to the Castle Club to look up information about your vrain.space account. So that's OAuth 2. But what's really unique about this setup is that it's reciprocal, so that we all used our vrain accounts to come here and visit Castle Club, but someone could register for the first time at the Castle Club, and then they could go to vrain and use their Castle Club account there. So every Immers Space server acts as both server for when you're going and traveling elsewhere and you need to give permission to those other websites to look up your account, client for when you're at that other site and it needs to read back to your home and get your information. So it's kind of circular OAuth process that I have never seen done before. It was really mind-bending to set up, and every time I go back and look at it, I'm like, how did I ever sort this out? But it works. So if we go back to the Mastodon image, I think this is actually helpful for us in talking about what is an Immer. So like our Mastodon elephants, they have their waterfall and grass world. And so that's like the experience is their waterfall and grass world. And then those regular brown Mastodons are the users for, that's their home Emmer. Go over to Slime World if they want to, and they can then have Slime World as their destination Emmer, still have their home world over here, but they can meet slime elephants in Slime World and become their friends, and then go together over to Mutant Mastodon World, and so on and so forth. After we know what an Emmer is, then there's the idea of a friends list, and that's connecting with other immersers, whether or not they started on the same server as you. They could be from any home Emmer, in order to get their live status updates so you know what's going on. In ActivityPub language is you send an activity named follow to the person you want to follow. You put it in your outbox, and then your home Emmer delivers it to Ben's inbox, and then Ben accepts that, and you become one of Ben's followers. So then when Ben sends a status update, like, hey, I just went over to the Castle Club, and that delivers it to everyone who's ever followed him. So Bob and Sally are all Ben's followers, and they'll get the updates, and then you can see Ben's at the Castle Club, like you just did, and get a link to follow him and hang out where he's at. Other like new thing that we're adding that other things like Mastodon Twitter clone is not using are the idea of location and where you are. However, the standardized vocabulary activity streams is very broad and already had everything we need to do this. We're just kind of the first ones actually implementing it. So there are two activity types already defined called arrive and leave that you can send along with information about where you're arriving from and where you're leaving to. In any Emmer is when you log in there, it sends an arrive activity with the link to the room you're in to everyone in your followers list. If it sends a leave activity to everyone in your followers list, which means at any point in time, you can look up all your friends and see what's the most recent arrive or leave they sent you. And there you know if they're online and where they're at, or if they're offline and they're not available. Activity
just like a proper metaversal experience. Well, thank you. That's good.
There's also another activity type that's already defined called invite, and that would be something we don't have implemented yet, but in the future, if you wanted to ping a specific friend and say, hey, I want you to come hang out with me here, then you could send an invite to them, and that would make sure to alert them and that they know where you are and that you'd like them. The final topic that is unique to the immersive web for ActivityPub is inventory. And so for this, there's already existing activities, add and remove, and the concept of a collection, which is a collection of things that you can add stuff to and remove them from. To implement this for the immersive web is the idea of collecting avatars and items from the different places you visit and then having them be forever a part of your profile. So you all picked an avatar when you were over on Immers Space, and then you came here to the Castle Club and it came with you. But if you look at avatars that are available on the Castle Club, it's a completely different set that are themed to fit this world. Avatar now to be one of the medieval avatars, and that would follow you if you went back to Immers Space. Just build that out so that you keep a history of all the avatars you find and perhaps other accessories like hats or swords or whatnot. You can reverse, but add them to your inventory and take them with you wherever you go. The final section of our talk is how can I add this to my own Hubs cloud and become a part of the metaverse? There's two parts to an Emmer. The Emmer server is the social media part, and then the Hubs cloud is the immersive web part. Are these three: deploy your social media Emmer server, client with the integration to the metaverse, and then a few small changes to making your Hubs admin configuration. Emmer server, everything we're doing here at Immers Space is open source and copyleft licensed. So you can go to our GitHub and get our Immers server. It uses a standard web called MERN, the MongoDB, Express, React, and Node collection of open source softwares. GitHub and install it on your server, and then just add in some configuration information, like your domain name, where your Hub cloud is hosted, and it needs an access to an email service to do password resets and customize your theme. These are in the README in detail and that link on GitHub. To do that, your social media server is you need to add that integration into your Hubs cloud deploy. A branch that we maintain and keep up to date with Hubs Cloud called Immers Integration, which is on our fork of Hubs that's linked there. Already doing anything with a custom client, you just check out our branch and deploy it and you're good to go. Custom client where you've added your own code to Hubs Cloud, which I'm sure a lot of you do, then you could just merge it in your custom work, Immers Space work, and you can have the best of both worlds. A few extra steps, you go into your Hubs Cloud admin after you've done those. You put a meta tag that tells the hub where your social media Immers server is, and that's just putting a domain name in here. You open up the this connect source policy. This allows live streaming to your home Emmer. That's how you get those updates of where your friends are and what they're doing whenever they send you an update, and it comes straight into your friends list on the screen. Finally, this is a placeholder until we get that inventory feature. You open up your course origins, because if you came here with the avatar that you picked on vrain.space, it actually downloads it directly from vrain.space into this room for everyone. Moving that later and locking cores back down once we have the inventory set up, and you can bring your avatars through your Immers server. So we're deploying the Emmer and the custom client for Hubs Cloud. I get that's actually kind of a lot to ask, even for an extremely smart and talented group like this. So we are planning future work to make this even easier. Instead of requiring you to actually deploy anything custom in your client, integration work into a script that you can just load by adding a URL to it in your admin panel. The Immers server, something you don't have to manually install dependencies for by giving it a Docker container, potentially offering managed hosting for the Immers server, so you don't even have to do any of the tech for that if you don't want to. Also, a destination only option. So we talked about every Emmer being the social media host experience. But for people who just want to provide immersive experiences but don't necessarily want to also be a home for people, we could offer a way of integrating only the immersive experience side of it so that people can log in with their social accounts if they have them, but not provided by you. They'd have to be bringing them from somewhere else. Okay, so that is my section on the technical discussion. We can stop there for questions, and then we also have information from Dulce about her creative process for building rooms after that.
You have questions? Do you think we can jump into the Alice room?
Yes.
Or should I just go ahead and go down this list first maybe, and then we can go to the Alice room?
We should go to the Alice room so people could really understand.
Okay, cool.
This is a common room we got from Hubspin. We need to see, did anyone have?
So the last room we were just in was a custom build that I did specifically for VRain. This next build that we're going to experience is also a custom build specifically for VRain. So that's what I've been spending my time, is actually making batch builds and making them available only on VRain. And I'm also setting up different types of rooms, like Kalani mentioned, that cater to different types of lifestyles that people would want on the Emmer social network. So apartments and stores and shops and meditation rooms and whatnot, or even town hall meeting spaces. So I'm working with Will to come up with these different spaces, and working with Kalani to come up with these different spaces. So it's really exciting.
Question in the chat. It's very exciting. I'm new to Hubs and VRain. How can I get up to speed on understanding the context of what you guys are building on this? Thank you for that. Okay, we have, this is really our first public presentation. We got a grant from the Grant for the Web program, which is related to this web monetization, this idea of replacing advertisement on the internet with micropayment streams where people send you tiny fractions of a penny every few seconds they spend on their website. And we started in October, and we have a 6-month grant for that we're doing this project for. So we're pretty early, so there isn't a whole lot of information out there yet. We do have a mailing list you can sign up for. If you go to immers.space in your web browser, you'll get to our website and an option to sign up for our mailing list. And we also have some insights posted there where we've written about our big picture motivations and plans, and we also keep up with some devlog posts and stuff as we're going as well. Okay, so friends, let's do one more hop in the metaverse. I'm gonna go to another room where another one of Dulce's creations, and she can talk more about her creative process.
It looks so nice on the Quest.
It's such a beautiful space.
It looks so nice on the Quest. I love it.
Okay, so you want to, people are joining. Once you get started, I'm going to pop back to the room to make sure nobody got stranded.
All right.
Yeah, to go back and provide a link for phone users.
Go ahead and do that now.
everyone make it?
It looks like people are getting here.
I love this room, Dulce. It's amazing. I've seen the screenshots, but I don't think this is the first time I've been in here.
You've been in here,
Amazing.
yeah. I still have some optimization that I have to get done in here, um, but
Did I
it's
just hear
almost there.
birds
I'm trying to
chirping?
get. Yeah, there's birds chirping in the space.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
So this is an Alice in Wonderland chess room, by the way. It's an Alice in Wonderland chess room because, you know, obviously, if you're going to play chess, you might as well play a version that is in Wonderland and the Queen of Hearts. Um, so part of my idea around coming up with these customized rooms or these themed rooms is the fun aspect and kind of trying to push the boundaries of what can be done in these spaces, especially with all these new physical properties that are coming with updates that happen in A-Frame and Babylon.js and 3.js and whatnot. And designer and being a 3D artist and building web pages for many years, having the ability to create these 3D spaces and these immersive spaces in the web is just so exciting to me, and I'm very passionate about it, and I just have all this energy to try to make as many of these cool rooms as possible, and just thinking outside of the box. My vision for this room in particular was to actually have these chess pieces be real characters animated. So that'll be the next level once Quinn gets the actual base pieces working and you can pick them up and move them. I'd like to push the boundaries a little bit further and see if I can get them to actually be real characters that do animated features, much like old school chess games that you used to play on a PC desktop, very rudimentary kind of character interactions. But the main thing that I really am focused on is how high fidelity can I get the room looking, and how much can I make it look like a really cool experience, and something with rich dynamic feel, and not bog it down, and not keep it so that, you know, it can't be shareable and have maximum amount of people in here. So there's this real fine line and dance that you play with optimizing these pieces, because you don't want to decimate things down to the point where they look really terrible, but you can't have a lot of triangles. You know, there's whenever you make something in Spoke, you want to hit these green marks. Right now, as far as the triangles are concerned in this room, they're in the red zone. So I need to bring that down. Everything else, yeah, everything else is in the green, which is great. You know, I got the textures down, did a lot of UV mapping on these meshes, combining a lot of the models together in groups. When you're building out these spaces, it's best to start in a tool that allows you to lay things out, and have control over your 3D models in a how do I say it? More in line with a game engine, like or a 3D modeling application like Blender or Unity or Maya. You should start in those places first and make sure that you're on the zero of the grid of that space. Everything that you import when you convert to GLB will be locked in at that coordinate and pretty much drop in here really easy. So I know a lot of people like to come into Spoke and to, you know, just grab things from Sketchfab or grab things from Google Poly or pull things straight from Mozilla Hubs themselves. But if you are a 3D artist and you understand how to use Unity or Blender, it's really cool to start there and then bring it in to Hubs. So my pipeline gone as such, where I hunt down different mesh models across the internet that I would particularly like to work with, or artists that are 3D artists that I particularly like to work with. And I either buy models from them, base models, or I collaborate with them and get something custom built from them. I also do some of my own custom model work as well. But I don't have the capacity to build out something completely, so I will go and I will work with other artists. When I take those models, I carefully try to decimate them down and to merge vertices and get the model down and looking as beautiful as possible. Photoshop is also my friend, taking the textures and converting those into UV maps and bringing them down to a nice quality as well. Once you have that decimated down, joining models together and making them kind of cohesive and in a unit will also help with the load in this space. So instead of having like 10 different models loaded in the space, and they all kind of have the same feature, they all using the same UV texture map, might as well just join them all together so it's just one model that you're bringing into the space, and that helps with the load and optimizing the room as well. Playing with the 360 dome feature also is something that I think gives a lot of dynamic effect to the room and gives some texture and ambiance, as well as the fog feature in the space. I love the fog feature because the fog feature gives the room a real feeling of presence, like there's an air in the space. And then of course adding the sound. So now it doesn't feel as static anymore. The fog and the sound and the 360 dome, it really does give a nice feel to the space. So optimizing, also you got to be aware of us and alpha channels are kind of tricky in this space. I do know that you can have see-through pass-through with the alpha. I haven't figured it out perfectly yet, away from Windows, but that's something I'm tackling right now with an apartment build that I'm making for the Immers Space. It has windows, and I'd like for people to see outside the windows. But I'm hoping that the new version of 3JS that has been released recently, or new updates to 3JS that give you PBR ability with reflectivity and with metal and shading for metal and high reflective surfaces, that will help and change. So I'm looking forward to doing some tests around that so that, I can get some glossy effect across these pieces, and get some metal effect happening in some of the features on the build. I also like to build exploring spaces that you like to can run around and hide in. So if you want, you can go check it out. That one side over there, that's the Mad Hatter Garden, Tea Garden, and then this side is the Red Queen's Castle. And it's all walkable. You can go inside and check it out and tour around. I don't know if anybody has questions.
One thing we talked about doing when we get the inventory feature is rewarding exploration in scenes like this by putting some hidden items in spaces that you find only by going all around, and then you can add them to your inventory and take them and show them off throughout the metaverse.
Yes, that's what, like a treasure hunt in here that you can find things and keep them. That's definitely. Oh, and the whole logging in with emojis is brilliant by Will, and I love it. I'm just so blown away about how cool that is. We talked about it for a second. I was like, why don't we do emojis? What do you think? And he's like, I think that's cool. And he goes and he makes it happen. And oh man, it's so exciting to see that work and to see it done really well. Yeah.
Hey Matt, can we take the camera with us if we, go explore a little bit? Because this is a really big space, and it'd be nice to kind of maybe follow Dulce around, just to kind of maybe go around a little bit and check out some of the different features.
That'd be great. I'll fire up the follow script for the camera. No, just kidding. I'll just follow.
If you can't script it, you can just think that you're a job creator, right? You're employing yourself.
You can take a stroll around the park, just like Central Park.
It's beautiful. I want a tour. What's your favorite place? We'll just follow you.
I like the Mad Hatter little tea garden area over here.
It's cute.
I wanted to put on this stone, I wanted to put actually like a big statue of the White Rabbit, or of Alice. But yeah, the tea party, little tea house. Anybody want to get a tea? Oh, look, I got to fix this. This is a mess. See the joys of getting down and deep.
The floating grass?
Yeah, the floating grass. I got to fix the floating grass. Also, I got to fix the texture on the garden grass here. That's something I just discovered, a new way to make the texture look better. But let's go to the castle.
What's that technique with the texture you're talking about?
What's up?
Can you tell us about that technique with the texture and the grass?
Oh, so yeah, so in Blender, I just discovered that you can size the UV on certain vertices. So after I've joined everything, I wasn't able to size the UV properly. So if you notice that all the grass has the same sizing, all the moss and the leaves and whatnot, or even the grass on the floor is kind of blurred out. Now I figured out that I'm able to select many different vertices at the same time, and change the sizing and the scaling of the way the texture loads on just those vertices alone. So if we could jump into the Wu-Tang build, I've done it there, and there the textures look amazing in that build. So I made another build of a Shaolin Temple, because Wu-Tang, they have a chess game from like the early 2000s, and I've always had a fantasy that I wanted to work with the Wu-Tang and do something with them. So I was like, we might as well just make a chess room of the Shaolin Temple for the Wu-Tang. So I made one, and maybe some other time we can see it. But yeah, the textures in there look amazing right now. So, but I am still working on it. It's not perfect. Yeah. But let's go to the castle. Let's check the castle out.
Portal here, I can just teleport right through there.
Oh, I teleported into the tunnel.
Oh.
I was trying to get to the top of the castle.
Yeah, I'm trying to fly and I can't. I don't know why I can't fly right now. But yeah, I'm still optimizing it. I'll make it perfect soon. It'll be perfect soon. It'll be great and perfect very soon. But I've been like really excited about these rooms and creating these rooms that I've just been like on a tear making a ton of them. So I've, like I mentioned, I made that Wu-Tang room, and now I'm making an apartment, a series of apartments actually. I made one just yesterday. I want to make a couple more. Um, I'm actually making some rooms for some associates of mine who want to have their own personalized meeting spaces in hubs. I'm also working on creating custom avatars as well. So this space will have its own set of custom avatars that will be in line with Alice in Wonderland. Same thing with the Shaolin room. You already see these cool vaporwave style avatars for the V-Rain space, the vaporwave room. I think that's really amazing and cool to give people the ability to be as creative as possible with their personality in these spaces, and then with the added advantage of being able to take those avatars with you across all these different rooms. It's just shaping up this whole metaverse, this web metaverse, into proper, like I mentioned earlier, into a proper metaverse. What I'm used to with other metaversal experiences. It's all now maturing here, and it's very exciting and very beautiful, and I love every little bit of it. So, having a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me show this off.
Oh, yes, I better part, or Kalani will yell at me later. So again, if you want to keep up with what we're doing, visit immers.space. I'll type a link and join our mailing list. Yep, that works. Okay. And we will be keeping updates as we go. Pretty soon we'll have an interactive version of the chess game. You can start playing chess games in here. Updates in our blog of what we learn, especially about the monetization element. We didn't get into too much today, but we'll have more content in that area soon on how to make your Hubs Cloud something that is self-sustaining, pay for those server costs when your users contribute. Thank you, Abler.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Quinn. Thank you, Matt.